everyone. Welcome back to AskAmy. So today I have a question from Sylvie. I'm going to read it here. She says, I'm approaching 79 years old, yipes, and feeling the end of my life approaching. If I'm caught up in the daily requirements of life, I don't dwell on this. But today is a free day for me, and my brain starts to undo me. Subsequently, I cannot seem to take any action and have developed a big case of self-pity. I'd like to ask you, how can I get back in the game again? Oh, I love this question, Sylvie. Um, I love what you said. You know, there's always so much like wisdom and so many clues in the way that you all ask the questions that always just cracks me up. It's the coolest thing because it keeps pointing to the fact that we're kind of onto it. Whatever it is that we're caught up in. I mean, we really think we're caught up. We really feel caught up. If you ask us, we can't see a way out. We don't know the answer. That's all true. And at the same time, deep down, we know. And it's not even that deep down, just beneath all this thinking that says, oh no, it's the end of my life. And what do I do? And I'm not in action. And how do I get back in the game? And just beneath all that, like the minute we kind of just dip down a tiny bit, or the minute that kind of quiets down a little bit, we see things and we absolutely do know what to do. And again, that doesn't mean we can always access it all the time. But what's really cool to see is how often I get questions from all of you, and the clues, the answers really, but you don't see them as answers, but clues toward the answer are in the question. So Sylvie says, again, she's a young 79 years old, feeling the end of her life approaching. Let me just stop there and comment on that for a second. So feeling the end of your life approaching. How does one feel the end of their life approaching? I mean, there isn't a feeling of that comes from being 79 years old or 9 years old or 99 years old, right? There isn't a feeling of, oh, I'm feeling the end of my life approaching, as if it's this thing that kind of comes down upon us at a certain age or at a certain point in our life. When she says she's feeling the end of her life approaching, what she's really saying, what I think we can kind of start to see in this, is what she's really saying is that sometimes her mind starts thinking that. She starts thinking, oh, I'm 79. The end of my life might be approaching. Other times she's not thinking that. That sounds very obvious, but there's so much depth in that. There's so much to see in that, because this applies to every single person on earth in every single moment of our lives. There is no like end of your life approaching that you feel. There's like, oh, there's just me in this moment living my life. And then sometimes my mind goes over here and thinks, oh, it's lunchtime. Or my mind goes over there and says, oh, time to go take the garbage out. Or my mind goes over here and says, oh, the end of my life is approaching. Or my mind goes over there and says, I have forever to live. I'm just going to do whatever I want to do. Or none of that is there, so we want to kind of get this feel for the fact that our experience could be anything in any moment, and it has nothing to do with how old you are. Now, I know that some people are arguing with that right now, and that's okay. I'm not saying that as you get older, your mind doesn't tend to go to the end of your life more often. I'm not saying that at all. No question. When you're 79, you're thinking more about the end of your life and just your life in general than when you're 9. No question. What I'm saying is being 79 doesn't make that happen. Being 79 doesn't lock you into that. Being 79 doesn't mean that you have this experience of the end of your life approaching. No. Thought in a moment brings an experience of the end of your life approaching. And that's the only thing that can possibly bring the experience of the end of your life approaching. And so Sylvie knows this, whether she knows it or not, whether she knows that she knows it or not, because she says, if I'm caught up in the daily requirements of life, I don't dwell on this. Right. Because here she is, a young 79-year-old, moving about her life, doing the daily requirements. her mind's not there. How old is she in those moments? She is no age. Her body might be 79. And again, we have to look at it and think that up to even know that. She's no age. She's no age when she's just living her life doing that stuff, right? She's no age to herself. She's no age to any of us when we're not thinking about it. She's just doing the daily requirements of life. So I think it's so beautiful that she said that, and kind of sees it. Hey, when I'm caught up in these daily requirements of life, I don't dwell on it. And that clues you in to exactly what's going on. Yes, because this problem you have is only a problem when we're dwelling on it. Now, I know, again, there's so many ways to hear this. Like, I am not at all saying, when I say that, I'm not at all saying don't think about it. I'm definitely not saying stay busy, add more requirements to your life so that you don't dwell on it. None of that. We just want to see this really simple. Oh, when I think about how old I am and I think about this timeline of my life that my mind has to conjure up, because it doesn't exist, there's only right now. But our mind can go there and our mind can say, I'm this age. I had 79 years behind me. I have some number of years in front of me. Our mind has to make that stuff up. Our mind has to think that into creation. So what Sylvie's saying is when her mind's not thinking that into creation, she's fine. She's ageless. Everything's okay. And when her mind thinks it into creation, she's not. Now, again, this is not a strategy for like how to get your mind to not think that into creation. No, it's more about seeing that it is only a thing. Like it only exists when a mind thinks it into creation. That's huge. That's huge because again, it means that 79, 99, 309, it's all the same. It's all the same. A mind can think it into creation anytime. I know a few women in their early 30s, former clients of mine, who think all the time about how old they are. I know one in her mid 20s who's obsessed with how old she's getting. It's not about the age. It's nothing to do with it. It's a mind thinking in this linear timeline of this is my past and that's my future and it's me, and here's where I am in my life and all of that kind of stuff. A mind has to think it into creation, like Sylvie said, when it has time to dwell on it. So she goes on to say, but today is a free day for me, and my brain starts to undo me. Subsequently, I cannot seem to take any action, and I've developed a big case of self-pity. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Now, again, it's not about the busyness. It's not because it's a free day for her. It's not even because Sylvie's brain went there. Like your mind can go to, oh, I'm feeling old today, or this is near the end of my life, or I'm feeling really young today, or whatever. Like your mind can go wherever it goes. It's bigger than that. It's bigger than that. It's more about our relationship with where our mind goes. What we see about that, what we know about that. Sylvie, your mind goes there and it creates this whole experience of you on a linear timeline being this age and having this much before you and that much behind you. And I just want you to get this little feel for the fact, because a little feel will keep opening it up. This little feel for the fact that that's a reality that's created moment to moment to moment. And when you have those moments when you aren't thinking about whether you're busy or not, when you have those moments when your mind isn't going there, it doesn't exist. And when you have those moments when your mind does go there, it creates this giant reality that maybe paralyzes you, like you're saying, that maybe has you sitting in self-pity, unable to do anything. But what's happening there is that your mind has created this illusion, in a sense, and it looks really, really real. Your mind is all about this linear, this is the way it is, and this is you. And it's just basically just kind of making this stuff up and making it very solid and convincing you that the real you, the important part of you, has an age and it's an old age and all the stuff that comes along with it. And what if that's just the way a computer works? A computer is so logical, so linear. It thinks in that way. What if that's just the way your computer happens to be working? Like if there's any way you can kind of start to see this and see it as reality objective out there reality a little less, it's going to bring you a ton of freedom. And it has to be objective reality a little less than it seems, because again, you just had a day, the prior day, let's say, where you were just doing your daily requirements and not thinking about this at all. So it literally didn't exist for you yesterday, and now it exists for you today. See how that works? I mean, it's so much huger than I even have the words to describe. So much huger than I even see. But I just have this kind of sense of it that I want you to start to see into. Let me read your last line again. How can I get back in the game again? So you're sitting around in a big case of self-pity, she says. How can I get back in the game again? Well, one, you will get back in the game when your thinking shifts. You're not going to sit there for the rest of your life, I'm guessing, caught up in this momentary reality created within your own mind. And it really is created within your own mind that says, I'm 79, the end is soon. I'm 79, the end is soon. I'm 79, the end is soon. I mean, we can do that for a little while. I'm guessing you're not going to do that for too long. Something's going to distract you. Something else is going to grab your attention. There's going to be a daily requirement of life that's going to come up, and you're going to not be dwelling on it. Now, don't take that as a strategy. Just see that as that's just the way it works, because you're creating the thing you don't like. You're not creating it on purpose, but it's being created by thought within you, right? It's where your mind is. When your mind shifts, you get a whole different reality. That's huge. That is huge to see. So that's one. How do I get back in the game of life? Well, you can't not get back in, like, you're going to get back in the game of life. It's not really a how do I do it kind of question, but another thing you can kind of see around that is, like, again, just that it works in this way. When we feel like we're in this big self-pity, like you said, or out of the game of life, or we're just paralyzed in all of our thinking, and that happens to everyone at times. The worse you feel, the more bogged down you feel, the more you're this beautiful, vibrant, young 79-year-old obsessed with the end is near. That feeling of heaviness and little hope and all, whatever it feels like, self-pity, all that stuff you're in, is there to show you, hey, yesterday you were fine. You're only a few hours older. So life didn't do this to you. Yesterday you were fine. Now you're feeling all this as if it's this big reality. Maybe there's something to see in that, and I think sometimes the heaviness of it, the self-pity, the being paralyzed in action, all that kind of stuff, it's there to just show us, wait a minute, where's your head? What do you do? Like, what's being created through your mind right now with all this thinking? That's it. Period. Full stop. So when we can see, oh, yesterday I was only a few hours younger and I was just fine. Today I'm only a few hours older and now suddenly it looks this other way. It can't be that life did that to you. It has to be our own thinking doing that to us. And, that's always the answer, right? Our own thinking is creating every single experience we have in every single moment of our lives, no matter how old you are, no matter what you understand about this, no matter how familiar you are or how brand new to this understanding you are. We live in a sea of moment to moment thought brought to life, creating reality. It's not out there, it's in here. And that includes your age, Sylvie, and that includes everything that any of us are ever concerned with. So I love this question. I love, Sylvie, that you sent it, that you have so much wisdom in it. Again, just notice that, everyone. I know a lot of you listen to these Ask Amy's every week, and all the time there's like a question, and I get it. I'm not saying you're making it up. Like, we're really lost in that question, but then in the follow-up or in the context, there's clues toward the answer, because we have both. We get caught up here, and then this settles down and we have everything we need just beneath it. All the answers, all the solutions right here. So thank you so much for listening. I'll be back here next Monday. Thanks, Sylvie, and have a great week, everyone.